Short trip today, just to Merry Bridge, so not very far. It's gonna rain. It's been raining. Yesterday was a stinking hot day. Today's not too bad, but just a short trip to get Farmer Chris back into riding. Woohoo! It was nearly a 40-degree day yesterday here, 38. Just trying to get some air through the helmet, through it's a summer jacket. So it's a summer jacket is made of aramid fibre. So it's a cloth material. It's the second one I've had. It's from a company called Speed and Strength, which I think is an American company. I'm not too sure. And they supply, or they have a supplier, at least one supplier in Australia called Riders Line, which I've had quite a bit of stuff from. And as a summer jacket, I mean, you kind of need something in Australia, you know, which is thin. Thinnish. Rather than, you know, a full-blown jacket, because get that closed, because of days like today, it's the humidity which is the killer. It's not the I don't ride in 40-degree days, but after you've had a couple of days of rain, which we had last week, the humidity levels go up really high. And South Australia is not known for its high humidity, and it doesn't suffer regularly from high humidity, but when there is a higher than normal level of humidity, it's like anywhere else in the world, you know, you really do get put through the ringer, literally. If we had a ringer, we'd be putting the clothes through it. So today is one of those days. Few days of rain, quite a few days of rain, and then a really hot day has brought the moisture out of the ground and resulted in relative high humidity levels. Now there'll be a short intermission while I blast it down this road. Now, trying something new today. I have turned off wireless on both the GoPro 11 and the GoPro 9. So I've turned off connectivity to see if that makes any kind of difference to the problems I'm having with the GoPro 9. And so far, although I haven't exactly come very far, the GoPro 9 and the 11 are both still recording. So I was just wondering if it was interference with the helmet, with the microphone coming off the GoPros trying to connect to Wi-Fi. So, and also I want to see how that affects battery life. So here we are on the little free ferry service, which goes from one side of the river to the other. This is not the only way to travel. Along the River Murray there are bridges, of course, in certain locations, but there are also a large number of free ferries, which is pretty cute. We used to think it was really cute to have to get a ferry to go to the pub, which, as you can see in the distance there, is stuck on a hill. So they do rock and roll a little bit, but it's a river, so it's not like you're crossing an estuary or ocean waters. When the wind is coming up off the Coorong, off the Southern Ocean, it does get a bit choppy, but not really, not in the grand scheme of things. However, when they come to land on the other side, sometimes it can get a bit bumpy, so I tend to ride with the stand down or ride on the ferry with my side stand down and my foot on the back brake. Otherwise the bike wants to roll forward a little bit, and I have lost my balance on another ferry and I ended up with my hip on that nice big chunk of concrete there on the side, and I wouldn't want to repeat that. That was on the MT-09 though. Didn't damage the bike, but it didn't do me any good. Whoa, be good to get the air back through this helmet. Hot, hot, hot. See ya! Everyone's getting a little piece of heaven set up for Christmas. Well, we've got a bit of straight road and a bit of tarmac. I'll pull over and change cameras, which is still working. Bonus. Let's see if I can not kick it when I get back on the bike. You get into a more built-up area and it's less affected by the wind, of course. South Australian wind just seems to have got worse over the years we've been here. Now it will be also interesting. You'll notice that the phone is charging from an iPhone supplied cable off the Quadlock USB charger, and it hasn't missed a beat all the way in. Which just kind of goes to show that potentially the problem lies in that cable. I'll see if, I think Chris brought his cable with him, if in fact it's not plugged in, and I'll do a swap on the way home and just test his cable. His cable may be perfectly alright, but I suspect they're being sent together along with the Quadlock USB chargers. They're both suspect, but I could be wrong, but we'll see on the return trip. And I've also taken the Hero 9 and it is facing Chris. Now, the Hero 9 settings are on wide because that's a good field of view when trying to take some footage of me from the front. And the Hero 11 settings are on linear. So the last video I did, you could definitely see that the camera was a little bit jerky when it felt like it. So going around some of the more twisties and the bike leaning over quite that bit further, the camera was trying to settle It isn't on horizon lock, but it was stabilizing the footage more in a kind of a jerky way. So it will be interesting to compare the footage going from the front, the Hero 11 set on linear, with the footage from the Hero 9 set on wide. God, it's like wacky races here, isn't it? I suppose every city's the same. As a motorcyclist, you kind of really literally have to have eyes in the back of your head. But it's fantastic to I must stop saying fantastic. I watched my last video and there was about 6 fantastics in the space of 2 minutes. It's awesome when you're out on the bike. It really is. It's great for your mental health. So if you've never considered motorcycling, consider it. One of the things it does for you is it takes your concentration away from everything else. As you can see, the roads are busy. Okay, well, it's not that busy, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Having ridden through Sydney and spent most of my working life riding through traffic in multiple United Kingdom cities, including London, some of the busiest cities in the UK. This isn't busy for a city, is it really? Not really. No, not at all, in fact. So I suppose it's a bit of an exaggeration to say that it's, your concentration. Concentrate on the cars, because there are not many of them. But you get my drift, don't you? Because what you're doing is you are concentrating on the car in front in case it does any unusual moves, if it brakes suddenly, if it's trying to avoid something in its path or something that's on the road. And likewise, you're sort of looking out for yourself at the same time. And if you're thinking about the road, your safety, survival, you're not thinking about anything else. And we do spend an awful lot of time as human beings worrying about everything and its dog. So being forced to concentrate on the road is a good thing, isn't it? Now, the good thing about this car park, of course, is they've introduced motorbike parking spaces. Isn't that a good thing? Just make sure you give yourself plenty of room. How was that, Farmer Chris?
Nice to be back on the bike.
You can no longer come to a restaurant or anything and just sit down and have a coffee if you've got all the cameras and everything with you. Life is no longer that simple. On that extensive menu, have you made a choice in Farmer Chris?
No.
Yeah. Farmer Chris has said no thank you to the house special goat curry. You're too much like it in lightning and thunder. Thankfully, we got back just in time. There's only one thing worse than riding in the rain. It's having to wash the bike afterwards. But we're home, we're dry. It may be that we're not out for a week if you look at the forecast. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big like. Please subscribe to the channel and we'll see you in the next one.